Maurice and Kimmi's marriage did not fall apart overnight. What viewers are reacting to now is not a sudden collapse, but the final stage of something that had been slowly weakening for a long time. When divorce rumors began circulating, many fans were not shocked. Instead, they felt a sense of confirmation. It looked like the ending of a story that had already been quietly playing out in plain sight. The image of stability that once surrounded Maurice and Kimmi began to feel less like reality and more like something carefully maintained, until it could no longer hold. For years, Maurice and Kimmi were presented as one of the calmest couples in the Love and Marriage Huntsville universe. While other relationships were loud, emotional, and messy, theirs appeared grounded and mature. They were often framed as the example of what growth looked like after hardship. But when viewers started paying closer attention, especially during rewatches, they began to notice patterns that raised concerns. The cracks were not dramatic. They were subtle, repeated, and easy to excuse at first. Over time, those small moments started to form a bigger picture. One of the most consistent observations fans made was how much emotional labor Kimmi carried in the relationship. She was often the one smoothing over tense moments, explaining Maurice's behavior and protecting the image of peace. In group settings, when disagreements came up, or when Maurice's words created discomfort, Kimmi frequently stepped in to redirect the energy. She did this calmly, but often at her own expense. Viewers noticed that she was not just supporting her husband, she was managing situations so that conflict did not escalate. At the same time, Maurice often minimized issues instead of addressing them directly. He had a way of framing concerns as misunderstandings or overreactions. On the surface, this came across as calm leadership. But as seasons passed, some fans began to interpret it differently. It started to feel like avoidance. Important conversations were softened, redirected, or left unresolved. When one partner consistently avoids discomfort and the other carries the weight of resolution, imbalance begins to form. Body language also told a story that dialogue did not always explain. There were moments on camera where Kimmi appeared visibly uncomfortable during discussions about trust, boundaries, and commitment. She smiled, but her eyes looked tired. She paused before answering. She often chose careful words rather than confident ones. At the time, these moments were brushed off as normal stress. In hindsight, fans now see them as warning signs that something deeper was happening beneath the surface. Another recurring issue viewers pointed out was Maurice's language around marriage. He often emphasized hierarchy, leadership, and control. He spoke about being the head, the decision-maker, and the authority. While he framed these views as traditional values, many fans questioned whether those beliefs left enough space for Kimmi's voice. During these conversations, Kimmi often appeared smaller, quieter, and less expressive. Over time, it felt like her role was to adapt rather than to be fully heard. Silence also played a major role in shaping public perception. Whenever uncomfortable questions surfaced, Maurice rarely addressed them head-on. Instead, he leaned into general statements about loyalty, faith, and commitment. These statements sounded strong, but they often avoided the specific issue being discussed. Kimmi, once again, became the one offering reassurance. She spoke on behalf of the marriage while Maurice remained emotionally distant. This pattern made fans uneasy because it created an uneven dynamic where one partner carried visibility and vulnerability while the other stayed protected. As time went on, cheating rumors quietly entered the conversation. They did not arrive with explosive proof or viral evidence. They appeared slowly, through whispers, side comments, and repeated mentions across different spaces. At first, many fans ignored them, But what made the rumors harder to dismiss was how Maurice and Kimmi responded when trust became a topic. Instead of clear denials, they leaned into ambiguity. Their reassurance felt rehearsed rather than confident. That lack of clarity raised questions. Viewers began asking themselves why Kimmi often seemed braced for impact, even when conversations were not directly about her marriage. Her body language shifted when topics like infidelity or betrayal came up. She went quiet. She avoided eye contact. Some viewers saw this as maturity. Others felt it looked like discomfort rooted in experience. These reactions stood out because they happened consistently, not just once. Maurice's responses during these moments also caught attention. He often leaned heavily into moral language, speaking about values, loyalty, and what a real man should do. On its own, that would not have raised alarms, but paired with his reluctance to address specific concerns, it began to feel performative to some viewers. Over-explaining values without addressing behavior can come across as deflection, especially when rumors already exist. Online bloggers added fuel to the speculation by sharing accounts of Maurice being seen in situations that did not align with his on-screen image. No confirmed photos went viral, but multiple stories followed similar patterns. Late-night outings, private conversations, and interactions that crossed emotional boundaries were mentioned repeatedly. What made this damaging was not proof, but consistency. When unrelated sources describe the same type of behavior, people start paying attention. Social media behavior also shifted in noticeable ways. Kimmi's posts became more reflective and inward-focused. Quotes about self-worth, boundaries, and healing appeared more often. Her tone felt thoughtful rather than dramatic. Maurice's posts, on the other hand, leaned into authority and leadership. He spoke about being tested, misunderstood, and strong. To many fans, it felt like two people processing the same situation in very different ways. Another key moment that raised eyebrows was how Maurice handled confrontation on the show. When cast members hinted at accountability or questioned his choices, he often became defensive. Instead of curiosity, there was irritation. Instead of reflection, there was shutdown. Kimmi frequently stepped in to soften these moments, redirect the conversation, or excuse his reactions. Fans began to see her less as an equal partner and more as a shield, absorbing tension so Maurice would not have to. This dynamic matters because how a couple handles scrutiny often reveals more than the rumors themselves. Strong relationships confront suspicion with transparency. Fragile ones rely on avoidance. The timing of the cheating rumors made things even more complicated. They resurfaced just as conversations about separation and divorce began circulating. Fans noticed Maurice and Kimmi appearing together less often. When they did appear together, the energy felt distant and formal. The warmth that once defined their connection was gone. As speculation grew, the conversation shifted from infidelity to something deeper. Money, power, and expectations in relationships became a major focus. A controversial statement began circulating online, suggesting that women should stop dating men who earn less than them. While the statement did not come directly from Kimmi, its association with her story struck a nerve. Suddenly, many viewers felt like pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. Fans began re-examining the financial dynamic between Maurice and Kimmi. Maurice frequently spoke about leadership and authority, even when the financial reality appeared more complex. Kimmi was shown balancing motherhood, marriage, and public scrutiny with visible effort. She appeared organized, responsible, and deeply invested in stability. Maurice's confidence, on the other hand, often seemed rooted in ideology rather than clear contribution, at least from what viewers could see. Financial imbalance alone does not end marriages, but when it intersects with control and expectation, it can create deep resentment. Fans questioned whether Kimmi was carrying more weight than was acknowledged. When one partner contributes more but feels less respected, frustration builds quietly. Over time, that frustration becomes exhaustion. Maurice often emphasized what Kimmi should do as a wife, while rarely discussing what he needed to do as a husband beyond providing leadership. That imbalance in expectations stood out to viewers. Kimmi appeared capable and self-sufficient, yet often deferred publicly. Fans began to wonder if she was dimming herself to protect Maurice's ego. When a woman feels she has to perform stability rather than live it, the relationship becomes unsustainable. This is why the divorce rumors did not feel sudden. They felt inevitable. Once respect erodes, whether through cheating, imbalance, or unspoken resentment, love struggles to survive. Many fans believe Kimmi reached a breaking point not because of one event, but because of a pattern she could no longer justify. When the rumors became louder, viewers noticed absences rather than announcements. Maurice and Kimmi appeared less together, both on and off the show. Group events featured one or the other. When they did appear together, their interactions felt polite but distant. The emotional connection that once existed seemed gone. Timeline questions followed. Fans pieced together filming dates, social media shifts, and public appearances. Kimmi's posts leaned toward healing and clarity. Maurice's leaned toward control and strength. The contrast felt telling. There was also a lack of direct denial. In reality television, couples often rush to shut down false divorce rumors. Maurice and Kimmi did not. Their silence felt intentional. Reunion footage and late-season episodes took on new meaning. Kimmi spoke about commitment in past-tense tones. She focused on effort rather than connection. She avoided future-focused language. These details mattered to viewers who were paying close attention. Many fans now believe the marriage had been functionally over long before the public caught on. The show may have been documenting the end stages rather than the breakdown itself. Separate emotional lives, parallel paths, and a quiet exit replaced what once looked like unity. When cheating rumors, financial imbalance, and emotional exhaustion are layered together, divorce stops looking like failure and starts looking like self-preservation. Fans believe Kimmi did not leave impulsively. They believe she left thoughtfully, after trying, after carrying, after protecting, and after explaining. The strongest decision is not always staying. Sometimes it is walking away once you realize love alone cannot fix imbalance. And that is why the question fans are asking now is not whether Maurice and Kimmi are divorcing, but how long Kimmi had already been preparing herself to leave. What viewers are reacting to is not just the end of a marriage. It is the realization that the story they were shown may never have been the full truth. And when that realization settles in, the shock is not in the divorce itself, but in how much was hidden behind calm faces and careful words for so long.